happy to have back Shira Ovide, the tech friend newsletter at the Washington Post, WAPO.com should link that for you. If not, just Google up Shira Ovide and change your name, Shira. Shira Ovide, anytime, SHIRAOVIDE. Hi, and welcome back to the show.
Hello. Thank you for being my personal agent.
Yeah, about that, right? All right, you wrote the completely correct guide to the best social media app for you. Let me ask you something right up front, because there's a pressure to be on all of them. Do we need to be on all of them?
Absolutely not. And in fact, you don't need to be on any of them. There is no requirement in modern life to be on social media, let alone be on all the social medias. Feel free to press that giant opt-out button.
Wait a second. I thought you had to be on all of them and you had to play pickleball. I thought that was the law. And you had to have a podcast. Isn't that the law, Shira?
Maybe. I mean, I don't have a podcast, nor do I play pickleball, although I am on social media sites.
And she's a writer for the Washington Post. Yeah. Shira, here's the thing. I don't care. I want to care when the social media app started. I'm like, yeah, this is fun. And then all of a sudden I lost interest. It's a job. It's a lot of work. It's a time suck. But please tell me if I'm screaming, I don't care, or this is nonsense. How do I flip the switch and embrace at least one of these and that makes me want to do it?
Yeah, I hear you. And I think many of us feel that exact feeling that you're describing, which is this sort of love, hate, or reluctant love and hate with social media. And look, I think we need to be honest with ourselves that we're all kind of searching to find community, to find information, people, and things that we care about. And a lot of that should be in person, but a lot of that is on social media too, right? It is kind of a shortcut to finding both people and information that we crave.
The best app, if you love Twitter but hate it now, is one of the big banging blocks in the piece that you wrote. Twitter, X, whatever you call it now, people hate it because of the negativity that's grown and grown, or maybe they hate it because of Elon Musk. Is there an alternative?
Well, there is probably no perfect alternative if you were that person who was addicted to Twitter for many years, as frankly I was. But one person, Adam Rose, who's an actor and a very prolific social media user, he said Threads is basically the best kind of replacement so far for Twitter or X. And, the reason is Threads is basically a copycat of Twitter. It's owned by Meta, the company most of us know as Facebook. And it functions more or less like Twitter, right? You kind of write short posts. There is a feed of other people's short posts. And so far, people are using Threads more or less like they use Twitter.
Which is fine, and Threads is still new and it's growing. One of the ones that I like to use, if I had to pick, is Instagram, because it's pictures, but I feel like a lot of them, it's got stories and it's got all the things kind of like a TikTok, and sometimes I think like Threads, because Threads you can add a photo. But when we add something and you're not getting likes and you don't know what's happening out there, and everyone talks about these algorithms, is there a way that you can figure out the algorithm, or they keep changing the algorithm just to make it work for what your goals are?
Definitely the algorithms constantly change. And, the really interesting thing is we have this knee-jerk tendency of like, I hate that these apps kind of show me this at the top of my feed automatically. That's not what I want. But, Instagram is one of the apps that has experimented with turning off the algorithm and letting you just sort see the posts that were most recently posted by people you follow, and it turns out people didn't like that. We may hate the computer sorted feed, but really, in our hearts, we love it, and we're just afraid to admit it. But it is true, look, we have power over these algorithms. If you don't like things that you're seeing on Instagram or on TikTok or on Threads or other social media that's sorted by those companies' computers, you have some control. You can kind of stop engaging, stop clicking on things that you don't like, to engage more with things you do like. And, algorithms take the hint, right? That they do learn from what you do and kind of adjust the things they show you accordingly.
You bring up a point in the piece. Again, we're talking to Shira Ovide from the Washington Post, the completely correct guide to the best social media app for you. This stuff is great here, but you bring up the Post, a question that people ask all the time: am I too old for TikTok?
Yes, and frankly, I am significantly north of 30, and I am asking that question largely for myself. And one person who is 45 said to me, and who is very active on TikTok with mostly kind of professional workplace advice, said to me, "Look, TikTok at this point is so big that it's really for everybody, right? Obviously, the your TikTok as somebody who's 45 years old is going to be different than the TikTok of somebody who's 19 years old. But the you can find your community on TikTok. And right now TikTok might be the one kind of mass social media site where there really might be something for everyone."
Now, Shira, we know this, and I've come to realize this just as of late. Social media is not going away. So I either really embrace it, I continue to post, do what I do. Does posting consistently build credibility, or if you're doing it for work? Like, I know a lot of real estate agents will post because they're doing it to build clientele. A lot of people in our business will post because they want to gain followers. So is it, even if you're not getting the response you need, continue to post so you can continue to build? Because it's not going away.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. It's not going away, even though you and I might some days wish it would.
Right, it's a job.
It is a job for many people. And look, I think we need to be honest that there's lots of people who are on social media that don't need to attract a following, right? They're just there to follow their favorite artist or their favorite politician or their friends or something like that. And it doesn't really matter how many likes or how many followers you get. But for those of us who have somewhat public-facing professions, right, it is increasingly important to have sort of presence on these sites. And people who are really good at social media basically said to me, yeah, it is kind of a volume game, that the key is to kind of post consistently and establish yourself with some sort of recognizable identity, right? Adam Rose, again, is this prolific social media poster who I mentioned. He always wears a kind of blue cardigan sweater in all of his TikTok and other social media videos. And I asked him, is that necessary? Do we need to have some sort of, piece of clothing or some sort of shtick? And he said, it doesn't have to be a piece of clothing, but it does help if you're online to kind of have some sort of recognizable look, right? Maybe it's how you speak, it's the background of videos, it's the kinds of things that you're posting about, right? And that also helps establish a kind of identity brand on these social media sites that people kind of can look to when they keep coming back to you.
We're going to fast run out of time here, so we're going to send you to read it, the completely correct guide to the best social media app for you, the Washington Post, WAPO. This is Shira Ovide, the Tech Friend newsletter. You should sign up for that and get it all the time. But Shira, before you go, if the big four are Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and X, where does LinkedIn fit in?
Yeah.
I mean, LinkedIn is rapidly becoming a lot of people's favorite social network. I am a little bit baffled by that, but it is true. LinkedIn is cool now, as a Bloomberg News article said recently.
Yeah.
And if you read the article, you'll find out about Blue Sky, which is maybe where we ought to be hanging out. So if it's what it sounds like, there you go. Shira Ovide, the Washington Post.